Hi, I'm Kathy from the Delafield Quilt Company, and today I'm going to share with you a project that comes from a free pattern that's available on Moda's website. I will put a link to that in the show notes. It also uses some cupcake mix recipes, recipe card number 4. And my favorite part of this project is it uses a fabric collection called Sister Bay. The Sister Bay collection was designed by 3 sisters and truly captures the beauty and uniqueness of a little town called Sister Bay in Door County, Wisconsin. I hope that you enjoy the tutorial and get a chance to visit Wisconsin and the beautiful town of Sister Bay. So to begin this project, you're going to first need to download the pattern, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes. And you may notice that the pattern actually includes a couple of different projects. It includes some pillow options, or you could use them as small quilts, and some table runners. I'm going to be doing the first one here, and I'm going to turn it into a pillow. For materials, I'm going to be using the Sister Bay Charm Pack. Has this nice range of dark blues, aquas, and beiges. And then also a coordinating Bella solids. And you're also going to need cupcake mix recipe number 4. And if you want to turn this into a pillow, then you're going to need some strips for the border. These are 1.5 inches just of coordinating fabric, and some 2.5 inch strips for the binding. So the option I'm going to do requires 10 aqua charm squares, 8 indigo charm squares, 8 light print charm squares, then 10 of the white charm squares. I'm also going to need 18 of the cupcake mix recipe cards number 4. So the next step is to put our pieces together that we want sewn together for the recipe cards. For your aqua, you're going to pair those with one of your white or off-white charm squares. And you're going to put the print on the bottom and then the charm square on the top. For the indigo ones, you're going to pair those with the light fabric that you pulled from the charm pack. And you want to make sure that your squares of fabric are right sides together. And then you're going to line up your recipe card right on top and just make sure it's centered. And then you want to just put a few pins in place. And I like to use the flat-headed pins because it makes it a lot easier when you go to cut these pieces. And once you've got your charm squares and recipe card in place, we're going to take this over to the sewing machine. And I'm going to use a really small stitch. The smaller the stitch, the better, because it makes ripping off the paper so much easier. And when we go to sew this, we're going to start where it says start. There's a tiny little star, and we're going to sew on the dotted line. And then we're going to lift up our needle, turn the piece, and then sew down the other dotted line. And there's really only 2 spots that we sew on these recipe cards. Okay, now that you've got your recipe cards and your charm squares sewn together, we can go ahead and trim this. It's very helpful if you have a rotating mat. If not, that's okay too. So I like to start by cutting on the outside solid lines first, and then I work my way in. So using your ruler, you're just going to line up, make sure you get right on those solid lines, and use your ruler marks to help you cut a nice straight line. Okay, once you have those cut, I like to go with the next longest one, and I'm going to do this diagonal one here. And if you can keep these together, it makes cutting this go a lot quicker. I'm going to go ahead and take out my pin. And then carefully lift up my ruler. I'm going to turn it, try to keep it all together again, and cut this guy here. I'm going to take these little triangles out, and then I'm going to cut these 2-inch squares. And sometimes, since these are just 2-inch squares, you might find it easier just to use the markings on your ruler. Okay, once you have all your pieces cut, go ahead and remove the paper. And then we're going to press these triangles open. And I like to press them open towards the darker fabric. And then you're going to want to repeat that process with the other charm squares. And then once we have them all done, we're going to build our stars. And you're going to want to mix it up a little bit. From one of your recipe cards, you're going to get 2 parts of the star. You do want to mix and match these a little bit. And here I'm going to show you what that looks like. So here is a finished star, and I pulled in from 4 different charms. Same thing for your indigo fabric, except it's going to be the light and the dark. And once you have your stars sewn together, then you can arrange your pillow top or little mini quilt top. And since I'm doing option 1, I'm going to have a light, a dark, and then a light, and then start with a dark, a light, and a dark, and then again a light, a dark, and a light. And then to assemble this part, you're just going to sew it in rows and then sew it together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, now I've got all the stars sewn together, and I think, as you probably can see, that was a pretty easy process thanks to the use of those cupcake mix recipe cards. So now to finish this, I'm just going to add some borders onto the side, and I'm going to cut these so they're the right size, and then I'm going to sew the side borders on, and then I'm going to sew the top borders on. Okay, now that I've got the borders sewn on, I'm ready to quilt this and either turn it into a small quilt or the pillow. So I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and I hope you get a chance to check out this pattern and maybe visit Sister Bay in Door County, Wisconsin. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.